Welcome in our great friend from the Pewter Report, the great Scott Reynolds, who joins us here looking fabulous. The hair is finally poofed. You don't even look like you've been out at OTAs at all, bro. You're like, that's good. It didn't look like that yesterday. It was kind of hot.
Yeah, it was a little warm yesterday for sure. So you have to excuse my tropical shirt.
I love it. Love it.
It's gorgeous. Thank you. Just got back from a 7-day cruise with my lovely wife, Ashley, celebrating 12 years of marriage.
Awesome.
Wow. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. It was May 17th, and May 19th was my 30th year at Pewter Report. So
wow,
lots to celebrate.
Damn. I made it 12 years with one of my wives.
Did you? Good for you.
The most recent
stability in your life is shocking to me. I would not know what that is like whatsoever. My God, hold a job for 30 years. Who does that anymore?
Yeah, I know, right?
Crazy.
And a marriage for 12? What's wrong with you?
Here's what I found out, though. We went on a 7-day cruise down to like Dominican, Bahamas, U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands. It was a fabulous time. Great Norwegian cruise line ship, the Aqua, brand new ship. And I've kind of been a self-described workaholic. I mean, you kind of have to be to run your own business and do this.
I would agree with that.
Years.
Yes.
But what I found out on that cruise was I don't want to work anymore. I want to cruise. So, I had this on today just to like keep that vibe of the 7-day
Is this
cruise.
your Vince Damoli Hawaiian shirt moment? Is this what this is right now?
I don't know who Vince Damoli is, but
he famously did the old owner of the Rays. I know you know that. He
Rays,
famously did this Hawaiian shirt press conference where he said he was stepping back from the team.
Oh, okay.
And then within 2 weeks, he was back in there. And he's like, everybody was like, oh, crap, Namoli's back.
Yep.
Major League Baseball brought somebody in to run the franchise because he was running it into the ground. So he did this. He did this press conference where he showed up in a Hawaiian shirt. And he'd always never been seen him out of suit and tie. He said, I'm stepping back. And literally within 2 weeks, he was back in the building.
He didn't like that option either, huh?
Back into metal, right?
Yeah. But anyway, congratulations. That's awesome. All that stuff is
man.
fantastic. And it's a testament to your hard work, your dedication, not only to your job, but to your wife as well.
Yeah, thank you. I got a great staff too. It starts with Ashley, my lovely wife, my kids, and then the Pewter Report staff as well, past and present.
Great.
Been blessed to be around some great people because it's not all me. It's it never has been, never will be.
You've hired a lot of really, really good people, and they've grown up there and gone on to great things as well. So that's a great testament to you, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, now let's talk about that jerk Hassan Reddick. Doesn't even show.
Idiot.
As Christopher Cole put in here in our co-op, he said, "You guys need to chill out.
You need to settle down."
I know you're right, Christopher. We do, but damn it, we got 2 hours to fill, so we're going to talk about Hassan Reddick.
Yeah,
not showing up. I mean, look, it's not a big deal. I get it, but if I'm gonna show the team and the NFL that I'm serious about this, I'm gonna show what else you got to do, bro. You've had 3 months off.
It's true, but I mean, it was Memorial Day weekend, so maybe there were some family obligations or something. I don't know. I don't think the team's too concerned about it. This is not a Randy Gregory situation because here's the thing: Hassan Reddick has actually shown up for phase 1 of the OTAs. He's actually been at workouts.
Good.
At the team facility with the players. That's something Randy Gregory never did. His first and only appearance at one Buccaneer place was to sign the contract, of which he never got paid. So that was it. He did a Zoom press conference. Then he was never to be seen from again by anybody in the Bucs organization. This is a different situation. He was at some of the phase 1 practices. He is 30 years old. He does have his own training regimen. We have to remember that he did voluntarily sign with the Buccaneers and was part of that contract negotiation. So he knows what he's making. He knows where he wants to be. It's where he was signed. This is not like last year where he was traded to the Jets by the Eagles, right? And I don't know how much say or say he didn't have in that exchange, but this is a completely different situation. It's not Randy Gregory. It's not even Hassan Reddick of last year.
Right.
You know who else wasn't at OTAs yesterday? Levante David, Mike Evans, Vita Vea. Those are some usual suspects of guys that typically aren't there because they're in their 30s and
but their situations are
their situations are different. Yes, they're established in Tampa Bay. I get all that. But you know who else wasn't there yesterday? Jason Light. Jason Light wasn't there.
Slacker.
You don't need to be there.
I know.
You don't need to be there either.
Yep.
All right.
What's he
Hey,
doing?
you guys on your great page, by the way, if you don't follow Pewter Report, you must do that on
Thank
the
you.
X show. This is from Pewter Report. Here's Todd Bowles talking about Hassan Reddick. He was asked about why he ain't here. Let's see if it'll play.
Oh, not playing.
Try again. All right. You are just killing me. We'll just go right to the man who recorded it and posted it then. What did Bowles have
Technology
to
is
say?
great when it works, right?
Hate you, StreamYard.
Yeah. Listen, what he said was not much, but I think the exact quote from that was, let me pull it up here. He said, I'm sure we'll see him at some point. So
Well, that's reassuring.
That was pretty much what Bowles' level of concern was about Hassan Reddick, So,
well, I did not know he'd already been there in phase one. We did not know that,
yeah.
So that's good to know, and that he's been here. So it's not a big deal, but again, we need to talk about it just because of who he is and
sure,
his track record. I mean, it is what it is.
Listen, I talked to some people within the organization yesterday. Not Jason Light because he wasn't there, but others.
Slacker.
I know. Come on, Jason, what are you doing? But he was, missed. Obviously, they would like to see Hassan Reddick there, but at the same time, there's no alarm bells that are sounding, right? It's like, you'd like to see him there, but okay, if he wasn't, like, all right. We have to remember too that he has a great relationship with Larry Foote, right? The Bucs outside linebackers coach. He knows how to rush the passer. I think we can pretty much all agree universally on that, right? This is not a guy that is trying to figure out how to become a double-digit sacker. He's been there and done that. Now, can he do it again? That's the big question, right? At age 30, he'll be 31 later this year. But having said that, it's not like he's never dropped into coverage before. It's not like he hasn't rushed the passer before. It isn't like he doesn't know how to, fill his gap and play the run. He knows those things. Does he need to know the intricacies of Todd Bowles' scheme? Absolutely. At the same time, mandatory minicamp is coming up. It's on the horizon. It's about 10 days away,
right?
Or 9 days away, I guess, at this point or so. Then there's mandatory training camp. So, we're going to be seeing a lot of Hassan Reddick. I don't think that this is cause for alarm just yet. Now, if he misses mandatory minicamp, then you got to wonder what's going on. But I don't think that's the case. Again, he's been at some of the phase one conditioning drills with the team, so he's shown his face there. He has already made his presence known there. And listen, you know what? If I'm Chris Braswell, I don't want him there.
No,
I want more reps. If I'm David Walker, I don't want him there. I want more reps. So Marquise Watts, Jose Ramirez, et cetera, et cetera. So, we'll see Hassan when we see him.
When we see him.
And for a situation like this, I've seen in the past where teams, sign a player that's a little maybe sketchy the previous few years, or they're just not absolutely sure about. And when they truly want that player at the voluntary workouts, they'll put a clause in their contract or a financial incentive in their contract. If they're there, they get paid so much more money or whatever, another $500,000 or whatever. The Bucs didn't do that with Reddick. So I don't think they had a concern coming into this thing that this was going to be an issue. And it's probably not. Yeah.
And again, it could be something as easy as he had a family obligation. He had an appointment he had to be at. It's one of those things. Like if you have a closing on a house, for example, I'm not saying he bought a house, but I'm just saying, they tell you when the closing is. It's not like, well, let me work it into my schedule. It's like, no, we're closing on this date, right? And this time, and that's it. Yeah. I don't know why he wasn't there, but again,
we'll move on.
We'll see. We'll see how he when he shows up.
What else did you learn from yesterday? Who caught your eye? I mean, Servassier had another pick.
Yeah, Servassier had another pick.
If he can only play 17 games this year, I think this defense will be immeasurably better.
I totally agree. Anthony Walker, because Levante wasn't there, those two guys working really closely. You can kind of feel the chemistry from those two out there at linebacker. And Anthony Walker got some props from Bowles. Asked him about him after the practice, and he's like, he already knows the defense. He's just a pro's pro. He's a veteran. So I think he's going to be a really good addition to this unit. Jamel Dean dropped an interception. Is that news or is that old? I think it's old, really, right? Because that's not news. It's old news, right? And Zion McCollum, I thought, had a pretty good day as well. He came through on a blitz, knocked a pass down at the line of scrimmage, and then had a kind of a diving pass breakup. Should have had a pick maybe, but we had a chance to talk to Zion after the practice, and I get this feeling, and I've not heard this from Bowles, but I get this feeling that his defense was too static and too predictable last year, and I think he knows that. Right? It's like Zion McCollum, left corner, Jamel Dean, right corner, Tyke Smith. And you kind of go back to maybe like that Eagles wild card game, right? Where Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis were healthy for the first time, like that whole season together.
Yeah, that's right.
They put Zion at like nickel and safety for that game. And it was like a new wrinkle. And I think we're going to see some new wrinkles. We had Zion McCollum on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and great interview. If you've not had a chance to see it, Zion breaks
that was
news.
Great. He talked a lot about the new defense.
Exactly. So you're going to see a lot more playing closer to the line of scrimmage, and not giving that quarterback that easy, quick slant for 10 yards on 3rd and 7, right?
Right.
And what that does,
first and 10 too. You saw
correct.
You saw Bo Nix come in here, and they played off, and they just said, okay, you're going to give us 10 yards for a rookie quarterback. You can get rid of the ball. We're going to take it all day long. Right. And they did.
So is it going to be press man at the line, or is it going to be a bail technique, right? Where they drop into zone? Is it going to be quarters? Is it going to be, a cover 3?
I don't care what it is. Just don't be 12 yards off the ball every freaking time.
Exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Bowles kind of mix and match a little bit. Like Zion's been very transparent. It's like he said, like, hey, the short, quick guys give me problems as a taller corner, right? Right. And so now maybe in those types of matchups where he might have, let's say, Darnell Mooney's not on the schedule, I think, but like a quicker, shorter receiver.
A Tank Dell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that's the type of player that would give Zion fits a little bit because of that quickness. Well, maybe in this particular game, game X, you put Zion in the slot and you make Jacob Parrish the outside corner.
That makes sense.
To do some mixing and matching there. Yeah.
That's matching up. Yeah. Instead of the offense dictating the matchups, now you can at least counter if you don't like those matchups. And absolutely.
I asked Bowles, I said, who's competing for that nickel job, right? If Tyke's moving to safety, who's competing for the nickel job? And he's like, well, Tyke's always going to be a nickel. He's a safety, but he's also a nickel. Right. And then he rattled off like Jacob Parrish, Christian Izien. He put Zion McCollum in the mix. Yeah. He put J.J. Roberts, the undrafted free agent safety out of Marshall in the mix. He's like, we actually have we have enough nickels now. We need outside corners and safeties. So I thought that was interesting that he even threw Zion in the mix at the nickel position. And that tells me that we might see some flux. We might see some fluidity in the secondary where you don't have those static guys that if you're, the worst case scenario for an offense is you go into the game thinking, all right, we're going to pick on Jamel Dean or Zion McCollum, whatever. And all of a sudden they're not where you expect them to be.
Right.
And you're not getting the matchups that you're expecting. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden on the fly, it's like, wait a minute, what is Tyke doing back in the nickel? Thought he was safety, right? Mm-hmm. Why is Zion playing free safety and Antoine's playing strong safety? What's going on here, right? And I'd love to see some of that from Bowles. And I'm not saying that that's what's cooking, but my spider sense is tingling. And I kind of think we're going to see some less static defense from Todd Bowles.
Well, matter of fact, the number that the distance between covers, I forget what the acronym for that is, but the difference from the receivers, the Bucs were, I think, the worst in the league or second to worst in the league.
In terms of the cushion, you mean?
Yeah, in terms of the cushion. Yeah. And when the receivers caught the ball, they had about like some average of like 4 or 5 yards of separation. Right. And it's like, holy crap. Like that's just too easy. Yeah. That's just too easy.
Here's the good news. We only had Bowles for like 5-7 minutes, whatever it was yesterday. I'm going to break some news on your show. On Monday's Pewter Report podcast at 4:00, this is June 2nd, we have special guest Todd Bowles on the program.
Nice.
So we'll have him for an hour. I'm going to ask him a bunch of schematic, defensive-minded questions because I like defense. Not that there's anything wrong with offense, but it's like the second best side of the ball. And so,
about special teams.
That's the third by default.
A distant third. A distant
Yeah.
third. Yes,
unless
absolutely.
you need that game-winning field goal, then Chase McLaughlin's number one for me. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's awesome. I'll be looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
So, in terms of some of the other guys you saw out there, it doesn't have to be rookies as well, because when Jason came on our show, he talked about these second-year guys, and they expect these second-year guys to take big jumps. Now, I'm not sure how much better Buck he can get, but he'll get better. They'll use him more. Let's just put it that way. The coaches will be better with him.
Yeah.
I think Graham Barton is, and he's out there for OTAs. I think he's going to be even better. And I thought he had a great rookie year.
I think he did too. And I'll stop you right there on Graham Barton. I'm really high on Graham Barton for one reason. He still gives me Ali Marpet vibes. Like I think that he is.
Yeah.
And another thing, it's Cody Mauch. I think Cody Mauch's great. I think Cody Mauch has Pro Bowl potential. I mean, Jason Light is just stockpiled this offensive line with talent. It is his number one position where he can just draft. I mean, it can be a thing where he just closes his eyes and throws darts and hits bullseyes with offensive linemen. And with Graham Barton, he just absolutely, I think, is going to become a Pro Bowl center. I think when you look in the NFC, Frank Ragnow, okay, we'll give him his props, the Detroit center. He's the Pro Bowler, right? Now that Jason Kelsey's gone, there's another guy, another spot that's open. I think you're going to see Graham Barton and Cooper Beebe in Dallas battle for that other spot in the NFC. And I'm sure I'm probably leaving somebody out at the center position, but I just think that highly of Graham Barton. And I love what I heard yesterday from his press conference when he was talking about needing to step up and be a leader, right? A lot of times, and I remember having conversations with Tristan, and I would kind of talk to him. And the funny thing is, with my age now, we're not peers. It's almost like a father-son conversation, just with my age, with some of these younger players. Like Coach Scott comes out of me a little bit, and I just remember telling Tristan, and this is back, when they had Ryan Jensen and Ali and all this. I'm like, here's the thing. Well, actually, this was right after Ali left and Jensen got hurt. I'm like, it's your offensive line now, whether you like it or not. Like, you're the best guy. And everyone's going to be looking to you. And if you don't talk, if you don't lead, there's not going to be leadership on this line, right?
That's right.
And like, it kind of took him a minute, and it wasn't just me saying that. Trust me, there's plenty of people in the building saying that have more sway over him than me. But it's like that's the truth.
That's the reality.
It's like you can be the reluctant leader all you want, but you are the leader by default because you're that great. Well, when you're a center, I don't care if you're the third or the fourth or the fifth best offensive lineman talent-wise out of the unit. And I'd say right now, he's probably vying for number 3 with Cody Mauch, right? I'm going to give Luke Edeke his props at number 2, and Tristan, of course, is number 1. But you are, by default, the leader of the offensive line because you are the pivot position.
You make the calls.
You make the calls. And that's one thing I was appreciated about Ali Marpet. He had the C on his chest, but Ryan Jensen was that vocal leader, right? And now Tristan's got the C on his chest, but it's time for Graham Barton to be that vocal leader too. And because you can have multiple leaders within a room because everybody has different leadership style. And to hear him come out and say, hey, I need to step up and be the leader this year. Like, for a year 2 guy, that means you're feeling yourself pretty well. You've got some confidence. And not only that, you've got the belief in everybody in that room ready for you to assume that role. And so I just think that's a natural progression for this guy. And I'm very high on Graham Barton here in year 2.
Yeah, I think, and of course, Braswell's the name that everybody's talking about. Well, at least Jason Light's talking about, Bowles is talking about.
Sure.